Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I'm not here with Geeky Sparkles. She's sitting the next couple of videos out. She's not feeling too well today. I guess the flu's going around. But we're going to talk about Cartoon Network. And man, they are falling off a freaking cliff. I got to give a hat tip to Jaggins Junk, who sent some links over. I was not really paying much attention to the state of Cartoon Network. But it's not good. According to, this is according to a Google AI overview. We've got some articles we're going to look at as well. Apparently, there are only 74,000 people watching Cartoon Network on any given day. That is not sustainable. There are YouTubers who get more viewers than that per day. Many, many, many YouTubers. So going back to the conversation we've been having about the state of the animation industry, and we'll bring that up again. Do you really think a lot of shows are going to be greenlit for these platforms, for these dying cable networks, for Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network and Disney Channel? No, I do not think we're going to see a lot of stuff greenlit for those platforms. I do not think we're going to see a lot of stuff greenlit for streaming either, because remember, Netflix spent a lot of money on streaming series, on animation series, and a lot of them did not do well. I think Universal, they had their kids channel. I am pretty sure they shut that down completely. I'm trying to remember, a couple of weeks ago I read something about that. So it's pretty much over for animation on cable TV, which is going to significantly reduce the number of jobs. So again, back to what is going on in the animation industry. There are a lot of people who cannot find work right now. In fact, we've had more and more pros speak out, saying that the union negotiations were a failure, including Steven Silver here, who's got quite the resume. And there are not going to be as many jobs as there were. A lot of those jobs are going to be outsourced. A lot of them are going to be obliterated by the use of AI. And frankly, independent animation is going to eat their lunch. A lot of people on YouTube putting stuff out there now that's picking up traction. Skibbity Toilet, right? I mean, come on. It's, Coco Melon. That's kind of where the future of everything is going, not the studio system. So this is just another blow against the industry. We're going to talk about it. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, check out Clownfish Minus for more content over there. Help support the reef. And if you want to support one of our creative endeavors, we just launched this yesterday. We have an enamel pin set coming from Nidaria Entertainment for Shadowbinders characters. I know not everybody's into enamel pins, but we thought they'd be kind of fun. So you can check that out on Kickstarter. Link in the description and the comments. So according, again, to this AI overview, and we're going to go out and look at these articles. In 2024, Cartoon Network viewership declined as children increasingly watch on-demand streaming instead of linear television. In July of 2024, the channel averaged only 74,000 viewers per broadcast day, ranking in 43rd overall. And the reason this is important is that we're looking at this article, Diverse Media Notes, and they're basically talking about the decline of animation and kids channels, kids linear channels. They said there's no listing for Cartoon Network because it's so far down the list, it's not even important. But look at these numbers. These are terrible. They said the figures below are based on all viewers versus specific demographics. Okay, the numbers in parentheses, viewers ranking, the average primetime viewer numbers, and viewership percentage change from 2023. For the sake of thoroughness, I also threw in the major sister channels, even if they're largely live action, like Teen Nick, which I forgot existed, which has aired cartoons occasionally. So Adult Swim is number 47, 210,000 people on average watching it. It went down 3% from last year. Nick at Night, God, I forgot that even existed. 208,000 went down 15%. Let's get to the animation channels. Nickelodeon, down 31%, 131,000 people. Disney Channel, down 17%, 110,000 people. Disney Junior, down 37%. Only 84,000 people apparently are watching Disney Junior. And that would explain a lot about the last couple of shows they've done that did not perform very well, like the Star Wars preschool show and the Little Mermaid show. They did not perform. In fact, those toys were on clearance almost as soon as they hit the shelves. Like, the kids aren't buying this stuff, right? Kids are watching CoComelon. Kids are watching YouTube. They're watching streaming or something. You know what I'm saying? They're not watching Disney Junior, which is sad because our kids, when they were little, they used to watch Nick Jr. They used to watch Noggin. Remember Noggin? They used to watch Disney Junior all the time. Nick Jr.'s worse. Yeah, 68,000, negative 39% drop from last year. Nicktoons is down 12%, 51,000. Boomerang, 34,000 people watch Boomerang, down 17%. Teen Nick, 24,000 people, down 53%. Discovery Family, which I forgot existed. We used to watch it with the kids when it was the Hub, 23,000, down 18%. Universal Kids, which I believe, I'm not 100% certain on this one. I don't have it pulled up, but I think they shut it down completely. 20,000 people watching it, 5%. Disney XD down 44%. Nobody's watching this stuff, right? They said Adult Swim managed to clock in as the top-rated animation-related cable channel, if only by staying somewhat flat, only a 3% decline versus other channels plummeting. Between this and Warner Brothers Discovery's current leadership not caring about animation outside of Adult Swim and DC Comics, and even that's iffy, that is true. That is 100% true. It's not surprising they've given a lopsided amount of airtime to Adult Swim. That said, I wonder if FXX's fate, see below, is one reason Adult Swim hasn't gone 24 hours. Yeah, it's like Fox. I guess it's Fox animated sitcom reruns. I haven't watched that one, but it's not good. As for Boomerang, it's gone down 17%, aside from the general decline in secondary cable channels ratings. I assume Boomerang has competition from MeTV Toons, which I do watch. MeTV Toons is what Boomerang and Cartoon Network used to be back in the day. And we do have I actually subscribe to Friendly TV on Roku just to be able to watch MeTV Toons. It's actually pretty good. Nickelodeon's down. So why aren't they making new cartoons? Why aren't they greenlighting new shows? Well, if you've only got a handful of people watching, you don't have any incentive to, do you? You just rerun SpongeBob. You just rerun Teen Titans Go. And this is another blow against Cartoon Network. We've been chronicling the demise of Cartoon Network for the last couple of years now, and it is good to see other people agreeing with us. That is definitely on death's door. I mean, they canceled a bunch of shows. They're not really greenlighting new shows. Some of the IP, I think they're doing movies for Max. They got rid of their building, right? The Cartoon Network offices, they're gone. I mean, eventually Cartoon Network is just going to be a brand that Warner Brothers slaps on to some content. But I'm telling you, it's not important. Cartoons are not important to these studios anymore, right? And I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer. I'm not trying to like talk you out of your dream or talk you off the ledge or whatever, but I'm being realistic. The days of them greenlighting a bunch of shows from people from Tumblr are long gone. It is not coming back. It's not going to happen. What they're going to do for the most part, I mean, Netflix is even going to look at the situation and be like, hey, you know what? It is more cost effective to just import stuff from Japan or do a co-production or something. I mean, hell, one of the biggest hits they had was Arcane, right? League of Legends. And they got hosed on that because not enough people watched it to justify the cost. It was a beautiful show, but it costs too damn much. All these shows cost too damn much, and they don't do anything to make revenue. Not enough people are watching to make the ad revenue worth it. I mean, $500,000 to $1 million an episode minimum, especially with union talent. That price is going to go up. Price tag is going to go up. Do they sell toys? Right? I mean, that's a big thing. I know people are like, oh, it's a toy commercial. Speaking of which, RIP, the legendary voice actor John Irwin, who was He-Man. We didn't do a separate video on it, but he passed a couple of days ago. He was 88 years old. And it does feel kind of like the end of an era there. But He-Man in particular, and Transformers and G.I. Joe, they were all targeted when I was a kid by parents originally. If I remember correctly, right-wing parents. And then going into the 90s and the 2000s, we had all these millennials and hipsters being like, those shows were just toy commercials. Now we're making high art. And I'm like, well, if you don't sell toys, you really can't afford high art? Can you? And you had about 10 years where there was all kinds of venture capital and kids were watching these channels. I mean, Disney Channel was huge 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and it's completely fallen off. The kids are watching TikTok. They're not even watching, I don't even think they're watching YouTube much anymore. The demographics of YouTube are shifting too. I think it's either really little kids watching preschool stuff, or it's their parents watching podcasts and how-to videos and stuff like that. Like the middle of the road YouTube channels, they've really fallen off in viewership. And I'm looking at people that were like big gaming YouTubers a couple of years ago. Nobody's really watching that stuff anymore because I think that audience either aged out or they went over to TikTok or something, right? So, I mean, the demographics are changing. A lot of the animation channels that were huge 10 years ago, just aren't now. With the exception of like Jaden Animations, I think she holds steady, and Odd Ones Out, I think he's holding pretty steady. But he did his Netflix show, he disappeared, right? Glitch is doing good. They're doing very good, actually. So yeah, I mean, it's just like everything is changing. So I mean, I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer. I'm not trying to rain on your parade here, but all these networks are down, and these are the networks that buy animation, right? Variety even had it. Kids and teen networks are down. It's starting to sound like a broken record. Gen Z and Gen Alpha just aren't watching linear TV anymore. They're getting their Disney and Nickelodeon fix on streaming optimistically. But as YouTube and TikTok also grab their attention, it was another rough year for everyone in that space. It's over, guys. I mean, this age of animation, it's sad because there was some good stuff. There was some legitimately good stuff, but like, you've got so many industry veterans right now that are like, this industry is screwed. And I really would recommend watching this video by Steven Silver. And he said the one thing the union had to do, was curtail or stop outsourcing and or AI. And that honestly is an unrealistic ask, I think, in this climate when kids aren't even watching this stuff. It's sad. It's really sad. There was some very good stuff. I loved the golden era of Cartoon Network. I'm talking like late 90s through, I'd say about 2007, 2008. I think pre-Adventure Time, even the first couple seasons of Adventure Time were really good. But I would say from the late 90s through the late 2000s, things were great. There was some really good stuff out there. And now it's just content, right? It's just content. So I am going to implore you, if you work in the animation industry, work on a plan B. I think you're going to need it. Everybody who works in any kind of creative field has to have some kind of a backup because there is an ebb and flow to these kind of careers. It's just the way it is. And be prepared to do more yourself. If you really want it bad enough, you'll figure out a way to do it. You'll figure out a way to connect with your audience, but you're not going to be able to depend on the studio system anymore. You're not going to be getting your Tumblr cartoon, your Tumblr webcomic picked up by Cartoon Network, and they're not going to throw millions of dollars at you. There are people that have been doing this for years that can't get work right now. So there you go, guys. Hashtag Clownfish was right. Just saying. Again, thank you very much to Jaggins Jung for sending this over. Appreciate it. I totally missed this. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Check out the Shadowbinders pin set, newly launched on Kickstarter, and we'll talk later.